Hello everyone and welcome to our Research Talk. I'm your host, Maiza Garela Ramos, and today we've got something really special for you. We're diving into a classroom-based action research project that explores how GeoGebra can make geometry more engaging and accessible for students. Whether you're an educator, a student, or just someone interested in the future of education, this episode is for you. I'm joined today by a team of amazing experts and we'll be breaking down how this dynamic tool can change the way we approach geometry in the classroom. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Let's start with the challenges students face when learning geometry. Our first guest, Lovely Valdez, is an education analyst, and she's here to talk us through why many students find geometry so difficult. Lovely, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. Geometry, especially plane and solid geometry, can be really challenging for a student. They often struggle with visualizing things like transformation, 3D shapes, and symmetry. And the problem is that traditional teaching methods don't always connect with how students learn best. So they need more interactive and visual tools to truly grasp these concepts.
Absolutely lovely. It's clear that traditional methods aren't enough for some students, but that's where GeoGebra comes in, right? It's all about helping students see geometry in a new way. Thanks for laying that out.
Exactly. And thank you again for having me, Maiza. It's been a pleasure discussing how we can improve learning experiences for students in geometry.
Thank you, Lovely. It's been great having you on the show. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome to Faith and Fury.
Thank you for listening to Give Me a Mulligan.
You have your family, you have your friends.
Good Sunday morning, and thanks so much for joining us.
Click on the podcast, download it, and listen to the whole show.
Now let's talk about GeoGebra itself. Melody Domingo, our tech expert, is here to give us the lowdown on what makes GeoGebra such an exciting tool. Melody, welcome!
Thank you, Maiza. GeoGebra is an interactive math software that lets students visualize and interact with math concepts in real time. For example, students can manipulate 3D objects, rotate shapes, and change angles, all with just a few clicks. It's perfect for helping students visualize abstract concepts like transformation and symmetry in a way that feels real and engaging.
That sounds amazing, and I love that the students can get a hands-on experience with geometry, making it less abstract and more intuitive. Melody, thank you for sharing that with us. Now, let's dive into the action plan. Adrian Felicilda, our research strategist, is going to walk us through how we're planning to implement GeoGebra in the classroom. Adrian, tell us about the structure of this study.
Thanks, Maiza. We've set up a simple yet effective plan. First, we'll begin with a pretest to assess where students are in their understanding of key geometry concepts. Then, over 4 lessons, we'll introduce GeoGebra, with each lessons building on the last to help students become comfortable with both the tool and the concepts. Finally, we'll use a post-test and an engagement survey to measure the impact on both learning and students' interest.
That sounds like a well-thought-out approach. I love how data-driven this plan is. Thanks for breaking it down, Adrian. Now let's bring in Geraldine Junio, our data analyst, who's going to share what we expect to see from the data. Geraldine, what can we anticipate based on your analysis?
Thanks, Maiza. We'll be using pre- and post-tests to track students' understanding of geometry before and after using GeoGebra. Along with that, we'll be collecting engagement data through surveys to see how interactive and interested the students are during lessons. From what we know, we expect to see an improvement in test scores and an increase in student engagement, thanks to GeoGebra hands-on features.
That's fantastic. It sounds like we're on track to see some real positive results. Thanks for the insights, Geraldine.
Thanks for having me, Maiza. It It's been great discussing the potential data and impact this research can have on students' learning experiences.
Thank you, Geraldine. It's been a pleasure. We're almost at the end of today's episode, so stay tuned for our last segment. And finally, we have Ivy Kayabyab, our future educator, to share her thoughts on the long-term impact for this research. Ivy, what's your vision for the future of teaching with tools like GeoGebra?
Thanks, Maiza. If this research shows that GeoGebra can improve both engagement and comprehension, we'll be able to take this model into other areas of education. Imagine integrating interactive tools into every subject, allowing students to engage with concepts in a way that feels real to them. It's about preparing students for a tech-driven world, and this research could be the start of something much bigger.
Thanks for sharing your perspective. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned for the closing thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with others who might find it helpful. We'll be back soon with more insights and ideas on how technology is shaping the future of education. Until then, keep teaching, keep learning, and most importantly, keep engaging.